Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Jamil Abbas from the Physiology Department, Faisalabad Medical University. Now we are going to discuss the endocrinology. The basics of the endocrinology actually starts from the hypothalamus. This lecture is basically the introduction regarding the endocrinology. The main king of the endocrinology is your hypothalamus. From the hypothalamus, we move down to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is divided into two parts, the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary. And this is your hypothalamus. This whole part is the hypothalamus. Here you see that this is this portion is the hypothalamus, and this is the pituitary gland. This is the stalk of the pituitary gland, and this hypothalamus is the main king of the endocrine glands. All the endocrine glands of the body, they are controlled from your brain, that is a portion of the hypothalamus. This hypothalamus has got different types of the nuclei which secretes different peptides, and these peptides, they are going to affect your anterior pituitary or the posterior pituitary, and from here, either from anterior pituitary or the posterior pituitary, different hormones, they are produced and they are going to enter into your target cells from where the different hormones are produced. So let's see what happens in the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus basically going to secrete the hypophysiotropic hormones. These hypophysiotropic hormones, they are going to affect the anterior pituitary, and from the here you have got the pituitary trophic hormones. They are going to affect the target glands, and from here the target gland, they are going to secrete different hormones. These hormones, they have got negative effect on the anterior pituitary. They also have got the negative effect on the hypothalamus. Actually, what happens if the secretions from the target glands are more than their requirement, if they are excess of the secretions, then this excess of the secretion, they automatically going to inhibit the hypothalamus, and this is known as the long loop, and this is your negative feedback. That is that hormones from the target glands, for example the thyroxine, which is hormone created by the thyroid glands, if there is excess of the excess of this thyroxine, it can inhibit the hypothalamus, or it can inhibit the anterior pituitary also. So this is a long loop, and this is known as the short loop. There is another loop which is known as ultra short loop. That the hypophysiotropic hormones, they can inhibit directly. They have got the negative effect the hypothalamus. In this way, and the reverse is also true, that if the secretions from the target gland is reduced, if the secretions from the target gland is reduced, then they automatically the hypothalamus is going to produce more hormones. They are going to stimulate more and more to the anterior pituitary, and anterior pituitary produce more hormones to their target cell, so that the deficiency of the hormones can be reversed. So in this way, these hormones, they have got negative feedback effect from the hormones from the anterior pituitary also. So this was about the negative feedback system. Now another very important thing, that is known as the hypophyseal portal system. If you look at this diagram, you will see that this is an inflow of the superior hypophyseal artery. This is the superior hypophyseal artery. It's going to branch into to form a capillary network. This capillary network is known as the primary capillary network. This primary capillary network drain down through the portal vein and enters into the anterior pituitary, and in the anterior pituitary they form a secondary capillary bed. So here is the primary capillary bed. Through the portal vein there is another capillary bed. So these have got the fenestration, and they have got no blood-brain barrier. So these fenestrations allow the blood to enter easily into these vessels, and they act as a sensor. So it is and the hormones which are produced over here in the in the hypothalamus, they can be drained through this portal vein from the primary plexus into this secondary plexus into the anterior pituitary. Actually, this hypophyseal portal system is a system of blood vessels of the micro circulation connecting the hypothalamus with the anterior pituitary. Function. Its main function is to quickly transport and exchange hormones between the hypothalamus arcuate nucleus and the anterior pituitary. The superior hypophyseal arteries from the primary form the primary capillary plexus. From this capillary system, the blood is drained in the hypophyseal portal vein into the secondary plexus, which is present in the anterior pituitary. Now, what are the hormones which are drained or which require this system, the portal system? That is the gonadotropin releasing hormone. This gonadotropin releasing hormone ultimately going to form the LH luteinizing hormone and FSH follicle stimulating hormone. Then corticotropin releasing hormone. This corticotropin releasing hormone is going to act on the anterior pituitary. From here, the hormones which are released, which going to act on the suprarenal gland to produce different hormones. Then it's growth hormone. Growth hormone, release hormone is produced and drained through this portal system. This growth hormone, we will study in detail all these hormones in future lectures. Then thyrotropin releasing hormone. This thyrotropin releasing hormone is also drained through this portal system, and it is going to affect on the anterior pituitary for the release of the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and this thyroid stimulating hormone from the anterior pituitary ultimately it's going to affect on the target cell, that is the thyroid gland. So mainly there are four hormones which are drained through this hypophyseal portal system. This hypophyseal portal system has got fenestrations through which blood can move into and out of it very easily. So this is the primary plexus, and this is your, and keep in mind that we are studying again and again the connection between the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary. I am not talking about the posterior pituitary. Actually, the posterior pituitary is an extension of the brain. We will see later. Here, now the development of the pituitary gland. Actually, the pituitary gland develops into two parts. Later on, these two parts are going to be united with each other. The two lobes of the pituitary develop from the different embryological tissues, the anterior lobe and the posterior lobe. The posterior pituitary is a neuronal tissue, and this is your neuronal tissue, the light blue color. Neuronal tissue, it develops as a downward growth from the third ventricle. This pituitary gland is downward growth of the third ventricle. Here you can see this pituitary, the posterior lobe is a downward growth from the brain, while the anterior pituitary is coming up from the lower portion. That anterior pituitary consists of epithelial tissues and develop upward as an outgrowth from Rathke's pouch and evagination from the roof of the pharynx. Later on, this posterior lobe and the anterior lobe, they are united with each other and forming a pituitary gland. So your pituitary gland has got two parts, anterior lobe and the posterior lobe. Posterior lobe is an extension of the brain tissues or neuronal tissues, while the anterior lobe is formed by the epithelial tissues which are coming from upward from the Rathke's pouch. Now, move to the posterior pituitary. The posterior pituitary, they have got neuronal connections with each other because they are developed by the different types of the neurons. So here you can see the yellowish color of the neurons, the neurosecretory cells from the hypothalamus. They are directly connected with the posterior pituitary. And the posterior pituitary is responsible to release two main hormones, where one is known as the antidiuretic hormone, or the, in brief, you can say the ADH. And this ADH is going to affect the terminal portion of the nephrons of the kidney to reabsorb the more and water. That means for the conservation of water, we need ADH. Another hormone which is coming from the posterior pituitary is oxytocin. This oxytocin is going to affect on the two portions of the body. One is the mammary gland, on which is going to have the let down effect, and the other is uterine muscles, where it is going to form the uterine contractions. So the two hormones coming from the posterior pituitary, one is the ADH, other is the oxytocin. We will see later on the detailed effects of this ADH and the oxytocin. Here, there in this diagram, actually this diagram is very much detailed, and this diagram is showing the different nuclei which is present in the hypothalamus and their functions. The hypothalamus we will study in detail when we will study the brain, or you can say CNS physiology. At that time you will come to know the different parts. We will see in detail which is required in our coming lecture, that is endocrinology. Now, here in this diagram, you will see the different hormones and this nuclei of the hypothalamus, and their color is matched with their headings. For example, preoptic nucleus. This is your green color, the preoptic nucleus. Here you can say these are the hypothalamic, these all portions of hypothalamus, and these are the multicolor hypothalamic nuclei, and this is the optic chiasma. Here there is a pituitary stalk, or you can say the infundibulum. Here is the pituitary gland. This portion is the anterior pituitary, and here is we got the posterior pituitary. There are the different nuclei. We are going to select few nuclei which are concerned with our endocrinology, or which is concerned with our pituitary gland. For example, very important, the preoptic nucleus. This is your green color, the preoptic nucleus. This nucleus is responsible for the release of gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone, and ultimately this G small and gonadotropin releasing hormone, they are going to affect on the anterior pituitary, and from here the LH and the luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone are produced. Then we have got the ventromedial nucleus. This is the orange color. This is your ventromedial nucleus. Here is your ventromedial nucleus. This ventromedial nucleus is going to produce growth hormone release hormone and somatostatin. Soon we will study in detail the effects of this growth hormone release hormone. This is responsible for the growth, and somatostatin, which are also responsible for the growth. We will see later on the details. Then we have got the paraventricular nucleus. Here you get the blue color. Here is the blue color. Here is the blue color. The paraventricular nucleus. This paraventricular nucleus of the hypothalamus is responsible for the release of thyrotropic releasing hormone and corticotropic releasing hormone. This thyrotropic releasing hormone is going to affect on the thyroid gland, on the anterior pituitary, from where there is release of the TSH, and corticotropin releasing hormone is going to affect the medulla, adrenal medulla, and you can say the adrenal gland, from where the different hormones are released. So another hormone nucleus which is, we will see later on all these things. Here you just memorize the nucleus and their concerned hormones. Then we have got another nucleus which is known as arcuate nucleus. In the diagram you will see this is a small, this is arcuate nucleus. This one making arc shape, this is arcuate nucleus. This arcuate nucleus is responsible for the production of the prolactin inhibiting factor. Prolactin inhibiting factor. This prolactin inhibiting factor is going to affect on the pituitary gland. So here is the connection between the hypothalamic nuclei and the pituitary gland. The concerned nuclei which are going to release different factors which are going to affect your anterior pituitary or the posterior pituitary. These are the different nuclei. Now, what is meant by the tropic hormone? What is meant by the trophic hormone? Tropic hormones. Tropic hormones stimulate another target endocrine gland. Tropic hormones. These are the hormones which are going to affect another target cell, target endocrine gland, and that endocrine gland further secretes something for their action. For example, the tropic hormone is your TSH. Here is the TSH. This TSH is going to stimulate another endocrine gland, that is the thyroid gland. and that thyroid gland is going to produce a hormone which is known as the thyroxine. For example, ACTH, adrenocorticotropin hormone, it is going to affect on the different parts of the adrenal gland, and further hormones, stress hormones, catecholamines, they are released. So this is the example of the tropic hormones which stimulate another target endocrine gland. And another terminology we use a trophic hormone. Trophic hormone means which stimulate any aspect of the growth. Whenever any hormone is going to affect any process of growth, that is known as the trophic hormone. This is a trophic hormone, this is a tropic hormone. So there is a difference between these two terminologies. Another very important, for example, non-tropic hormone. The tropic hormones, they are tropic and non-tropic hormone that affects only prolactin and melanocyte stimulating hormone. These are non-tropic hormones. They are directly going to affect the target cells. So prolactin, we will see the details how they are going to affect. Then we have got non-tropic and the tropic effects. Both effects are there. That is the growth hormone. It has got both a non-tropic and tropic effect, the growth hormone. So move again. For example, this is your anterior pituitary. This is the pinkish color anterior pituitary. This is the portal vein, portal vessels, anterior pituitary, and here the yellow color is the posterior pituitary. From the anterior pituitary, there is a release of 6 hormones, and in this diagram you can well see all these. Two are the follicle stimulating hormone FSH and luteinizing hormone. These both are going to affect the testicles and the ovaries for the production of different things. Then TSH, this is going to affect the thyroid gland to produce the thyroxine and the T3 and T4. Then adrenocorticotropin hormone is going to affect the adrenal cortex. Then prolactin, it is going to affect the mammary glands. Then the melanocyte stimulating hormone. Then we have got the growth hormone. This causes the growth of the liver bones, affect the liver from which the somatostatin produced, we will see later on, and this is going to increase the bone growth and the other tissues. So these are the hormones which are released from the anterior pituitary, and we already know that posterior pituitary is going to release only 2 hormones, while the anterior pituitary is going to release 6 hormones. So 2 posterior pituitary hormones were in the previous diagram. You can see that posterior pituitary gland is going to produce ADH and oxytocin. Now keep in mind that the posterior pituitary is responsible for the production of the 2 hormones ADH and the oxytocin, while the anterior pituitary is responsible for the production of 6 hormones, and you must memorize their concerned nuclei and their production and their connection with the pituitary gland. And these 6 hormones are FSH, LH, the 2,1, then TSH, then ACTH, prolactin, melanocyte stimulating hormone, and the growth hormone. So these are the 6 hormones which are produced from the anterior pituitary. But here, again, this whole lecture is now going to sum up in this diagram. That is, the hypothalamus is going to produce what things. These are the anterior pituitary, which is known as the adenohypophysis. The posterior pituitary is known as the neurohypophysis because it is neuronal development. The hypothalamus is going to produce growth hormone, release hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone, thyrotropin releasing hormone. I don't remember this time. The growth hormone, release hormone, and actually this is the prolactin release hormone. This is the prolactin release hormone. Actually, here is the prolactin inhibiting factor. Here is the prolactin inhibiting factor which is coming from the hypothalamus. Now, all these things, they are going to affect the adenohypophysis. And from here, the release of the FSH, ACTH, TSH, prolactin, growth hormone. This growth hormone, and these are the target cells. FSH and LH, their target cell is the gonad, they are the testicles and the ovaries. ACTH is on the adrenal cortex. TSH on the thyroid glands for the production of the thyroxine. Prolactin is going to affect the mammary gland. Growth hormone is going to affect the liver and all the body tissues. Then we come to the posterior pituitary. Here are the 2 hormones, that is the ADH and the oxytocin. they are released directly in the blood. The ADH is concerned with the conservation of water, anti-diuretic hormone from the last part of the nephron in the kidneys. Oxytocin is going to affect on the breasts, female breasts. So this was all about the introduction of the hypothalamus, a brief introduction of the hypothalamus and its connection with the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary and the development of the pituitary. Okay, we will see you in the next lecture. Thank you.